Goinky doink. Maybe it was a coinky doink. That's what I want to say. Sometimes you feel like some people stole your ideas. Sometimes you just like. Sometimes you just feel like overwhelmed. Sometimes you feel like. Sometimes you feel like a nut, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you feel like oatmeal, and I just wanted to make a really quick video in response to a video that Mr. Griff Critical Mind made last night that I was watching, and this has to do with the Infowars army, the Infocomms that arose in 2018, and there may be other websites before that, but specifically 2018 and 2019 we had this website that came up, and people were on it. And the purpose of the website, if you don't know what I'm talking about, the purpose is all about activism to do protesting and stuff. And it's a long story that I'm trying to describe, but and I'm oatmeal. I'm that oatmeal guy. And so I just wanted to say a few things really quickly. The biggest thing that I wanted to open up with is has something to do with perspective and comparison. Mostly comparison. Like when you think about comparison, like when you want to know something very important, if you want to know if something is right or wrong, if you want to know if you can trust somebody specifically, the best thing you could do is test them or study them and compare what you don't know about them with what you do know. And that's the best thing you can do. And so I have to say that as a really brief introduction to this video that I'm trying to make really quick, and I really have a lot to say. I've said a few things, I've wrote a few things, I've been around the block, as they say. I've been around. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. What am I loving? I'm loving life. Life is an experience, and the meaning of life has something to do with free will. I talk about this, and it's important to have free markets and competition and all these things, and you know, the competition of ideas, and it's really important to understand that. And so I'm trying to summarize a long story for anybody who doesn't know. I wanted to make this video mostly for myself. I cannot assume, or I should not assume that I am the king of the world and I have to, you know, tell people what I think, because maybe it doesn't really matter. However, you don't know if something really matters or not, necessarily. And in life, you can look back and you can regret not doing things. In the moment, you could be like, well, that doesn't really matter. And so I'm doing this because I believe in letting people know a little bit about what's going on. Long story short, we have this website. The website is focused on activism, you know, political, non-violent, constitutional, legal activism. Let me say activism. And protesting, and, you know, trying to find ways to red pill people and educate people and all these different things. And long story short, there was some infighting, and over the years, people have been talking about it. Alex Jones talked about it a few times. Owen Schroyer talked about it. Some other people talked about it. So, in other words, a lot of different people are talking about this stuff. And I'm this typical 34-year-old man or boy or whatever you want to call me, and I'm just like kind of in the middle of all this, and I was on Discord last night watching the newest video that just came out by Mr. Griff, Mischief with Griff, and I wrote down, I said that I have an open mind, and so I watched the video. It's about an hour, and some of it I've heard before. I wanted to make a video right now and respond to some of what he said. And he said a bunch of things, and he was with the other guy, and there was probably some other people, and because they have a group called Kansas, and not Candace Owens, but Kansas the state. Okay, I know what you're thinking. What are you thinking? I don't know, but Kansas. All right, don't say I always watch videos where people are like and then I'm like thinking, I'll never do that. Oh, I just did it. Oh man. But seriously, if you can get past this kind of face that I have, I admit my face is a little different, but that makes me the embodiment of oatmeal itself. You are what you eat. And so in a nutshell, and I'm really bad at this because you look 6 minutes in and I haven't even made an introduction yet. What kind of person am I? 6 minutes in, I don't know if anybody's gonna watch this, but I do know that I really want to say a few things, and I wanted to open up the video. Maybe I should just edit this video, and where I'm just like some of the younger people are like, they're just popping in every 5 seconds. But I just watched Star Wars. I liked it, or I have to keep on smiling, or else I'm not gonna be able to buy and sell. Whoa. Okay, that was a commercial. I think that was a commercial, but oh geez. Sometimes I wonder if I should make videos where I'm just trying to pretend to be like Robin Williams, or I'm doing different voices. Sometimes I feel like I should just talk straight and as normal as possible to try to copy other people, but more on that another time, because this video is not just about me. But then again, speaking of me, I wanted to really briefly talk about that. So like I said, this video is a response to that video by Griff, Critical Mind, and he talked about these different people, and he talked about how these people did things. Maybe they did things, they stole their ideas, the Kansas ideas for the Infocomms, and maybe they when they said they definitely did, stole ideas and messed up the Infocomms and tore it to the ground, or this thing or that thing, a couple different things. It's a long story. I'm trying to summarize it, but they're saying all these things, allegedly, these accusations of these different people. And we could break it down. I could try to break it down, and I could talk about the different people that they talk about. And that's what I wanted to do a little bit. Now, to an extent, you could argue that I don't really know, and I don't know because I don't know everything. I don't know everything. You know, I don't know everything. I do know, to some degree, myself, a little bit more than other people. That's probably what I should have opened up the video with 9 minutes in, and I didn't even open up with something that's pretty critical. Speaking of critical minds, that's critical. It's critical to understand somebody with what you know before you can understand stuff that you don't know. Like, I don't know a lot about these other people. I could talk a little bit about how I met Pastor Sam in August 2019, and that was good. I like him. I don't know everything about him, but I believe and I've seen him help people, and that's good. And there are other people. We could talk about all these other people. We could talk about these different people. And we could talk about perhaps people make mistakes. Perhaps people do bad things. And Owen sure said that too. It's obvious, but in order to know how uh, credible somebody might be, like Critical Minds, for example, you gotta have a measuring stick that comes from your perspective, even though it may be a little bit too how do I say, what's the word, relative, or what's the other word, subjective. I love that word, subjective. That's not good. You got to be objective. But you can't be objective totally and completely because you're not perfect. It's very simple. But you start with where you are, and you start there, and you focus in with what you know before you can know more. It's very common sensical. Sensitile? Sensitile. Sensitive. I'm sensitive. Oh, jeez. Anyways, brother Oatmeal messing up with the words. How were you in English? You couldn't even talk. I don't know. Stop messing with me. So, I just wanted to make a really brief video. Stop saying that! Okay, I'm sorry, but I have to say, I'm trying to say, I don't know everything about this, and I want to make more videos about a lot of different things, and I want to talk about this because I feel like I have some perspective being a part of the Infocomms a little bit. The last 2 years, I know a little bit about what was going on. I don't know everything, but I do know that they talked about me, and some of that was probably, I say, speaking for my own personal perspective, that some of that of what people said was perhaps too inaccurate. And there. Now, in my life, I admit that I can be a little bit too aggressive and emotional. Not emotional like I'm an NPC, like I'm losing my mind, but like Alex Jones in some ways, or like somebody who's dramatic in order to try to influence. And so I've tried a little bit too aggressively at times to try to persuade people, change their minds, like Steven Crowder and other people. And then people do this, and sometimes you make mistakes and you're a little bit too aggressive or whatever. And Craig Mason talked about that. Mr. Craig Mason, I like what he says. And I try to follow all these different people and get stuff out of it. And so here I am doing all these things on the internet and stuff, and I'm trying my best, and that's the beauty of life. That's what you should do too. If you want, and you probably should, you have an interesting perspective as you are a color of the rainbow. Not the gay rainbow, but rainbow. Oh jeez, if I upload this to YouTube, are they gonna ban it because I said a word that might be a trigger word that their AI is looking for? I don't know. I think about these things, but more on that another time. Right now, I just wanted to say that long story short, I can start with myself, and then I can make some other videos perhaps, and talk about some of the other people, and take it a case at a time, a thing at a time, a step at a time, to talk about the different points. I feel like I'm the one that can do it. Obviously, I probably should do other things. You could argue that there's a lot of other things that are more important than this. This perhaps, unless if this is possibly a little bit symbolic of other things, like it might be a little important, perhaps not the most important thing in the world, but this is a little bit important because it helps you understand dealing with people, the infighting, trying to work together kind of thing. There's a lot of principles that you can learn from this one particular thing that I'm talking about, the Infocomms and stuff, and what happened, what didn't happen and stuff. And I would say to Griff that even though you can say perhaps you can say that you came up with these ideas, like you came up with the ideas for the Infocomms. That may be true, but it may not be necessarily relevant. 15 minutes in, I probably should have started out with that. And that's the thing, like, a lot of things are not totally relevant. And some things are, like I said in the beginning of the video, some things are coincidences, coinky donkeys, as some people say, coinky donkeys, coincidences. And that's a problem with copyrights and patents and trademarks and all those kinds of things, even though, hypothetically, those things are nice in theory, just like communism, socialism, and Obamaism, and all these different kinds of things. In theory, a utopia is great. You get a free car. I'm Oprah. You get a free car. I'm Bernie Sanders. You get a free tumor. Oh, jeez. I got the tumor. It's like getting the short stick. Oh, jeez. I don't want that. Oh, where's my guitar? I'll steal another one. I don't have it with me. Sorry. I'm too drunk. No, I'm not drunk at all. What am I saying? I'm trying to say that it's so easy to lose your mind. But I don't lose my mind. I'm going through my mind. I think there's a difference. That's interesting. But, like I said, I have been writing some articles on Steemit and on some other blogs and websites on the internet, trying to talk about this in Banning Oatmeal. Banning Oatmeal is the name of the series where I talk about some of this, and I'm a little bit too wordy, I admit. A little bit too wordy. I'm writing, and I'm not getting to the point, just like I'm a little bit too talkative when I am talking. A little bit too talkative, and that's probably why I should do what the kids are doing. Cut every 5 seconds. I know Paul Joseph Watson does that, and it's cool, but then some people don't do it, and I feel like it's a lot of work. Post-production work. But I guess it depends what kind of video do you want to watch. If you don't want to watch this kind of video, you can go watch another video. And some people actually do like something like this. Not necessarily me, okay? But some people like to watch people that they admire or whatever, and watch them for like an hour instead of like this, 3 minutes here, commercial, 3 minutes here, commercial. That's terrible. But don't get me started with all this stuff that I'm talking about. Introducing, different plates, like Lionel Nation says. This plate, that plate, plate on my head. That's what I said. I'm Fred, and I'm dead, and red. That's what I said. So, I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna end this video in just like a few seconds, so you can stop talking. No, you're not talking, are you? Did I say talking? I think I'm talking to myself. I think I'm going crazy. I think I am losing my mind. You can stop watching. You can stop looking at me if you're looking. You can stop listening. You can turn the station. Because I'm still gonna say a few things for the record on this second day of January 2020, the beginning of a new decade according to astrological time. And what the hell? I like that. So, I'm gonna say this is a new decade, and hell with Gregorian chronology. His calendar sucks. So, and some people do. And some people do! Pun intended. So, it's terrible. But, what is terrible? A lot of things are, but what can you do about it? Is this video necessary? No. Maybe not. And most of the time, I write stuff and then I kind of regret it. I make videos and I'm like, oh, that video sucks. I don't like my videos. Unless if they're really good. And someday they may be. But I learned early on that if you want to be a good writer or a good maker, filmmaker or whatever, you got to keep at it, even on your bad days. So if this is a bad video, FYI, then this must be my bad day. So, this video should probably be one of those videos that you don't watch, and tell people don't watch this, and then maybe I can make a better video where I can talk about all this stuff and get to the point in maybe 2 minutes. So if I could summarize everything that I said and try to make a 2-minute video, I'd probably say something like, we had the Infocomms. It was there to try to fix America, try to get some activism going. And then there was infighting, and some people saying that other people were messing it up because of, you know, maybe there was some horse porn by the one guy who might have been the same person who called in just a few days ago, last Friday, to talk about how the Infocomms got messed up and he lost all his work because he didn't back it up. Fool. You fool. You fool. That's too bad. But you gotta back it up. Don't depend on one website. Even if it is the Infocomms. You know what I'm saying? But then he messaged me in a bad way. Yes, I know. He said, that oatmeal dude. Even though I was trying to support some of what he said, probably like, basically, I mean everything except for like the violence part. Even though, I mean, I understand that, but I'm not gonna say it. Like, I'm not gonna say that we should do that unless if it's self-defense. Pretty much. Somebody's trying to kill you, you try to defend yourself. They're trying to kill your family. Self-defense is fundamental. But we gotta be politically active, not violently, to change the world. You gotta be political. We live in an information war. It's a cultural war of ideas, and it's devastating. Pretty devastating. And I like the ideas of proprietarianism. That's some kind of ideology of property, what you own. Some people actually don't believe that you own stuff, that you should own stuff. They say, like, I'm Pocahontas. They say, like, we are the world, we are the world, that everybody owns everything. And that means that the government actually owns it. And that was, I would talk to some people in Vietnam about that. And some people said that everybody owns the public places, like the parks. And I'm like, who makes the decisions? I guess to an extent, democracy can help if you vote, you know. That will determine the decision-making process, and that's fine to an extent until it becomes like a mob rule, and that's why a republic is better than a democracy, right? So that's pretty simple. And so I'm just gonna say really quickly that I'm just thinking about all these things from the top of my head. I could write it down. Write it all out, and then read it to you. I could do that, but would that be a good video? I guess it'd be more to the point. But I've been thinking about all these things for the past few years, and I didn't watch Alex Jones, as far as I know, until early in 2016. So I was never really a Democrat. But at the same time, perhaps I was to an extent. And obviously a lot of people are. When they're younger, they're more liberal, but I mean classical liberalism. That's what I mean. Where you want to be kind of nice to people, and you can be both, and that's good. You got to be liberal externally and conservative internally. That's important. It's important to have both, because our enemies are not really that. Car video. I like to watch Geeks and Gamers because I like those kinds of things, and I'm kinda a geek and a gamer. That's why I look like this. And a video would probably be better if I had better lighting. That's too bad. And if I had better audio, I can complain all day. And Critical Mind probably does too much complaining. Not to say that it's not warranted. Not to say that nobody did him wrong. But the world is rather complex. And that's why I wanted to make this response video. Not a car video, but a response video. And wanted to say a few things randomly. And to spit it all out. Even though I don't know if anybody could understand it. I guess it's kind of like therapy for me. So I'm doing a therapy session right now. Maybe that's what I should call it. Because I have all these thoughts floating around and I'm trying to organize it. Just like I'm trying to organize the stuff behind me in the oatmeal attic, the Arnold attic. I wanted to make this video as an introduction to all of this stuff, and I feel like it's a little bit relevant to understand in the sense of psychology and sociology and anthropology, mostly psychology. I like these words. I studied some of that in college, and I have worked on some mission trips, on some mission teams in my life, and some camps, and a few different things in my life. And I have some experience in basically working with different people, and I guess a lot of people do. But it's critical, there's that word again, critical. It's critical to understand how to work with people, and specifically conflict resolution. You can learn from different stories that are specific and perhaps too personal. Perhaps you don't want to be too personal, but at the same time, one of the things I get criticized for is talking about things that might be too personal. My defense to that is twofold. One, it's relevant and you can learn from it. All that kind of stuff. I talk about that a lot, especially with my autobiography, where I just talk about myself and people are like, oh man, you're talking about yourself. You just care about yourself, or you're crying like the flag dude 08's been saying. Like you're crying, you're making a little bit of money, and then my island is floating, and then it's gonna top over. Mr. Hank Wilson said to Diamond and Silk, "Did you make any money?" Or how do I impersonate him? Did you make? I can't do it. But what I can say is what was I saying? Oh, gee, I can't do this. I'm trying to juggle all this in my mind. I want to say that I was trying to make 2 points. I was trying to say, what was I saying? This is where, if this was a live video, some people could remind me. Assuming that anybody was watching. And, I was trying to say that I talk about some personal things because I feel like people can learn from it. Number two, you got to keep in mind that some things that are personal are already public, and therefore it's not really doxing anymore. I get accused of like doxing. I think a few people accused me, maybe not accused me exactly of doxing itself, but you know, I like to generalize terms a little bit too much, and so I say these words and I redefine words to generalize the meaning to certain words. And so I take the word dox, for example, and I take that to mean just basically, no, I guess I probably shouldn't redefine that word, but I like to generalize terms and look at it from the broadest perspective, as opposed to the most specific application of a word, of a term, because it's important to understand the relationship that some words have with other words, and playing with words is very valuable because it's like a dance, and you're able to understand the relationship of certain things by comparing them to other things. I mean, that's basically what like an analogy is in some ways. You kind of have to generalize the analogy in order to connect it to the other thing, and so I do that all the time, but not just with analogies, but literally with words. I turn them into like inside jokes, inside baseball kind of things inside my head, where I kind of know things about what I'm trying to say, but then I'm not really translating, and that's one of the things I'm working on, is trying to find ways to translate what I'm trying to say to other people, and that's valuable. And so I talk about these things in my life. I read a lot, I've made some videos, and I'm not exactly happy with my how do I say, what's that thing that George Lucas got accused of and Disney got accused of? It's the execution that really matters. Like, it doesn't really matter so much about the story, even though the story actually is really important. But I mean, obviously you got to start with the story. That's very valuable. You got a good story, that's gold. But if you don't have a way to tell the story, if you don't have a way to communicate, then what are you doing, and who are you going to connect to? I mean, you can connect to some people, but you're going to have a hard time. That's why appearances matter. That's why, you know, perhaps if I'm too ugly, if there's not enough light on me, like there is not right now, you're going to have a problem. I'm going to have a problem. I got a problem. It's very simple. Very simple. So, I've been talking for 30 minutes, and I have not said everything that I really wanted to say. And I can say really quickly that some people would not publish a video like this video. I'm going to publish this video because I think that what I'm trying to say is valuable, even though the execution is not really the best. I mean, I guess right now it's a little bit better. I'm talking a little bit better. I'm very hard on myself, and I try to improve and stuff, even though I don't always tell people that. I am. But I'm also, you know, juggling through different things that I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to, you know, I'm working on these different things, and I'm a perfectionist, I'm a clean freak, and so nothing's really good enough for me. The stuff that I write, the stuff that I say, I do different things. I have a few different talents, I say to myself. I have a few different talents and gifts, and I force myself to publish things, release things, because if I don't, then procrastination sets in, and that's a terrible thing. Don't be too lazy or sloppy if you're that kind of person. It depends on what kind of person you are. I'm the kind of person that is a little bit more of a professional. And some people have told me that. And I know that I am. I don't always look professional, but I am. You gotta know who you are. And you gotta know it at the root of your heart. You gotta know who you are, what kind of person you are. I'm a workaholic like my father. And so I can stay up until 6 in the morning every night. I can sleep 5 hours, get back up, go back to work. I try to force myself to sleep longer. Try to force myself to go to bed earlier than that, maybe 2. Maybe take a nap before that and get back up. And I'm doing all these things, like I said before. I'm doing these things, and sometimes it can be hard for people who don't know what I do. And I may not be the best at everything that I do, but I try to do all these things, and that is valuable to do your part if you want, and you probably should, but that's the meaning of life, is making these individual choices in order to get to where you need to be, so to speak. And that's not the whole meaning of life, but that's an introduction to the meaning of life. It's not 42. So, I wanted to make this video and talk about how I can use what I know about myself and what people have said about me in order for me to attempt to evaluate those people. Like I said at the beginning of the video, some of those people, like the Kansas group, the Critical Minds, Mischief with Griff, and the Minuteman of America. See, Rob Roy makes some good memes. He made some memes of me, and I like them, even if he is trying to mock me, insult me. I still like it. Maybe I shouldn't tell him that, because then he'd probably stop, and he probably did. And who knows if he'll ever do it again. I can't say if he ever watches my videos or not. I don't know. I got a long to-do list with all this stuff that I do, and I tell people about it on my blog, what I do, what I try to do, and I may not be all really good at everything that I do, but I try to do them, and I try to work on myself, and I try to improve myself and improve the videos that I make, the stuff that I write, the memes that I make, all these different things. And it's a big long list, and I have a hard time trying to do everything that I want to do, and then I think about whether or not I want to get involved with different people in order to help Donald Trump win in 2020, and then what do we do after that? And so I want to get involved politically in activism and stuff, and I'm here at the moment. I'm working on some things, like I said, but my goal would be to get done with some of those things, and then move on to those things. And that's one of the reasons why I'm in America. I'm in America because I am going that direction, trying to go that direction. I'm going to consider trying to do these things, all these different things. And anyways, this video is not about me. What am I doing? I guess I probably should stop the video, take some notes about what I really want to say about some of the things that people have said about me. I'm going because I'm a little bit tired and stuff. And I'm also like, oh, my voice is straining. Oh, man. I don't know, how do people talk for a few hours a day? I gotta practice that and get my vocal cords back in shape. It does take a lot of work to make videos, and so I applaud the people that do. And it's a lot of work, but it's valuable. One of the things that I gotta do is try to get an app that could translate my audio my words into text, and then I can just talk. I don't have to use my fingers to type the articles. But then again, I write a little bit different than I talk sometimes, and so 40 minutes into the video, this is not the end as we know it. It's the end of the world as you know it, and I feel fine. Did I just spit? Oh, jeez. I gotta stop that. I don't do it all the time. Hey, I'm not spitting all the time, but when I do, I'll make it look good. Okay? So, like I said, I wanted to make a video, or a bunch of videos, where I talk about these different things and settle the score. Perhaps I can be the judge and be right in the middle, be fair, to let you know what is going on. Who's right, who's wrong. You have these people who were talking about the Infocomms, and some of them were on the Infocomms, and a bunch of different things happened. Perhaps the Infocomms could have been managed better, of course, but that doesn't mean that these other people were not in the wrong. It's like everybody was in the wrong, but who did worse? Who was the baddest? Who did the biggest doo-doo? Who made the biggest doo-doo mess? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's complex because the Infocomms doesn't have to be managed, but you got to make it clear when you make a website. What are the rules and how are they going to be enforced? And there was enforcement issues. I mean, with the rules, it appeared like the rules were selectively enforced. That may not be totally true. That may not be totally accurate. It may not be. But I'm saying it appeared to be that way, and it's difficult. It depends on how you do the moderating for a bulletin board, for a forum. I have done some web design, and I was working on a website a few years ago called Mia Omnia, Latin for my everything, and we were trying to make something that was supposed to be like Facebook and YouTube and Steemit and Twitter and everything else combined. From my experience working on that and working on other things, I can say that it's pretty difficult, but not impossible. There's different ways to do it. I would recommend that you try to use some kind of blockchain technology. I would use something like IPFS and something like BitTorrent. It doesn't have to be those things specifically, but peer-to-peer, computer to computer. You have a website. A website is traditionally on a server. That's a computer that's connected to the internet. You know, you have the files that make up the website. It's very simple, and it's on a server. It's very simple. For anybody who doesn't know, I'm just saying, you know, it's on a server. But the best thing you can do is have a way for the website to be on different computers. Like every user, if they want, should have the option to host the website. That's basically what a blockchain is when we're talking about cryptocurrencies and stuff. And you have it on different computers. The website or the cryptocurrency. You have the blockchain, you know, the forum. You have it, whatever that is. You have that. You know, you have it on a computer, and then, you know, the other people, they can download it basically, and then they can redistribute it. And they have programs, they have ways of doing it. It's a long story. I'm not here to talk about all that, but It's very valuable to do that. Because that's Internet 3.0. That's a way to try to decentralize the internet. It's not everything. It's not everything that you have to do in order to decentralize the internet. There's a couple different things you got to do. I'm not going to talk about that right now. I just wanted to say a couple things about that, and I said it. I just wanted to say that there's different ways to manage a website as far as like moderating or not moderating, what the rules are, what's allowed or not allowed. The problem is if you change your mind as the administrators of a website in the middle, then that might be problematic. Not impossible, so you can do it because it's your, theoretically, it's your private property. Maybe not entirely, because there's a debate about the data that's running around. Because literally the data is electricity, and electricity is just running around. It's like water. I'm getting a little metaphorical. I'm getting a little bit, what's the word? Something, I don't know what's the word is. Deep. I would say deep. I'm getting deep about that. Talking about electricity and data and do you want to copyright data and electricity? Because then if you could do that, then they can stick a brain phone into your brain and then copyright your brain waves, because that's basically the same thing. Oh, buddy, that's why I don't like copyright. Not that it's not okay. It's that it's a step towards the Matrix. Because if you can copyright electricity, you can copyright the electricity inside your body, and I don't like that. So, even though it's okay to an extent, and in theory, as long as you have good people enforcing the stuff, but when you don't, then you got a problem. And that's what I'm trying to say. And I think I'm getting warmed up when I'm talking. After 40 minutes, delete, start over. That is something that you could do. Start over. Sometimes you gotta start over. I'm not gonna start over with this video. I'm just gonna make it and put it out there, even though it's not so good. But I said a few things that I thought was kind of neat. From the top of my head, I'm just thinking about all these different things. And, I just feel like, I feel like a nut, like I said. I feel like a nut. And, nuts are good. Nuts are good for your brain. So don't copyright your brain. You really want to get a microphone. I gotta get a microphone. I got a microphone, doesn't do so good. And you gotta have some nuts in your brain. Eat the nuts. Don't just drill a hole. You gotta eat it, digest it. I'm really fascinated with trying to live longer, trying to be healthy. It's valuable to have a better life and to understand where life came from. I want to know, are aliens harvesting stars? Is 2020 the beginning of the new decade? According to Gregorian, like I said, there was a king and there was a calendar that was introduced in the 1500s or so. I think they got it all wrong. To actually start it on the 1, because they didn't have a year 0. They should have had a year 0. So therefore, you superimpose a 0 onto the 1 BC. It's very simple. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm getting sidetracked again. I just wanted to say that, I don't know what to say. So, I, make this video. I talk for 49 minutes to say that I have no idea what I'm talking about, except that I think I know what I'm talking about, but maybe I actually don't know what I'm talking about. But so I'm open-minded to say that I might be crazy. But I like what I'm saying. I understand what I say. I believe what I say with all my heart. I have a lot of passion. Sometimes I have to just tie my stuff up because I have so much passion. I can go up to somebody and I can scare them because I have a lot of passion. because I believe in what I do, even when I'm wrong. And I try to be open-minded so that when I am wrong, I can change my ways. I can do things differently, and that's very important. And there are a lot of different ways to do things. And a lot of people think they're right. And I think I'm right. But we're not perfect and we make mistakes, and so we should think about doing things better sometimes. People accuse me of a bunch of different things, and so I write about it to correct the story for the record. I think that once I do one particular story, then it's there for the record. And when something similar comes along, I can just say, go look at article 36789. Go look at article 3754321. The article that I wrote about it, but the one thing, go back to 34535. I'm a robot, I'm an android, I'm a human, I'm not a human. Robots are not people. Equality lessens the value of human life, and that's terrible. So, I gotta say that it's important to do things like that. Like I said, what I'm doing is valuable. It's important to take care of what you got. Take care of your family. If you have family, you can try to take care of them to an extent, or totally. It's important to archive and to save your work. You got work, you gotta take care of it. And it's very important. But I am thinking, and I'm not talking. I was just thinking a little bit about what I should do right now. I think that I should probably stop now. This time for reals. For reals, yo. For real. I need to talk louder so that you can hear me. I make videos, I listen to it, and I'm like, damn, that's not loud enough. You gotta talk louder. Jeez, you gotta talk louder. Alright, boys and boys. Boys and boys. I mean boys and girls. Oh, jeez. 52 minutes in. I'm Oatmeal Joey Arnold. Joey Arnold VN. Second day of January 2020. Like I said already. It's in the afternoon, like 2 or 3 p.m. PST. Near Seattle. Yo, burn my house down. No, don't burn my house down. I have a lot to say. A little bit. And I should do this more. We should do this more often, yo! Oh, man. I have to do this more often. Yeah, maybe a little bit. I just like to correct the record. I should actually spend less time making videos about inside baseball stuff. Even though that's valuable because I kind of know, because I have experience with these people at the Infocomms. Like I said, this video is about the Infocomms. And I can talk about it because I kind of talked about this and wrote about it, and I was writing to these people about this, the different stuff that we're talking about, and so I like to talk about it because I feel like I kind of know a little bit, because, you know, I met Pastor Sam and talked to some of the other people, and I feel like I have an inside perspective of what's happening, good and bad, even though I don't know everything. I don't know exactly the specifics of who's right and wrong about every single thing. It's valuable to talk about that, so I talk about some of that stuff, and that's good. So I'm not going to say to myself, don't ever do it, but perhaps do it less and focus more on bigger issues. Because a video like this, perhaps, even though it's relevant to people, a video like this has a hard time getting to people. And you know, it's the same thing with everything else. Like, people are focused on certain things. And so if you talk about certain things that are popular, talk about Star Wars, okay, a lot of people get into it. And if you talk about Trump, if you talk about this, you talk about that, things that people know, then people can be like, okay, I'm interested. If you talk about things that people don't know, then a lot of people don't identify, or they don't know what the hell you're talking about. And it's the same thing with like